Hello, sir.
Sir.
Rohit, I see you there, and I see the lovely lady here.
Sir, she's our Dean, Dr. Haridas.
Nice to meet you, Dean.
Sir, thank you so much for joining. Namaste from India. Namaskar.
You know, Dean, I was with my own dean just 2 days ago. We had lunch together at the Kellogg School of Northwestern University, and she's working out beautifully. Everyone thinks she's doing a terrific job. Many colleges are now trying to think, what is a true good education, MBA education? What, in other words, is the normal MBA education really training people for the jobs of the future? And so I'm sure you and your group also looks at problems and issues like that.
Yep.
Good.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. We are so happy to have you on board today.
Okay.
You're like a god for us. You know, I really don't have any words to express actually.
Well, nice to meet you. And Rohit has done a marvelous job of keeping me informed all along. And so our session will start shortly, and I'll in fact won't start until I know that we're ready to start, and I'm told.
Sure.
7:30 sharp. We'll start 7:30. You know, sharp at 7:30. I mean Indian time. Yeah.
Dr. Kotler,
yeah. Right now in Chicago, my time is 8:53.
Yeah.
And it was very, very carefully worked out.
Right. Absolutely. Dr. Kotler, just letting you know, your voice is slightly fading away while you
say that again.
Your voice is slightly fading away as you speak.
Oh, okay. So let's be sure. Did you say I seem to be sliding away?
Yes.
Yes.
Like normally I'm going to talk like this. Maybe I'm too close to my computer.
So I think this is absolutely fine. Now it's okay, sir.
Okay. Yes, those are important things that you don't want to keep speaking and not knowing your picture is being shown or your words are being heard.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. I'm going to get rid of something here. Sure. Okay. And good. And how's the weather in your city now?
It's been pouring for the last couple of days. It's been pretty pleasant and nice. Something like Florida, not as cold as the eastern side, but it's pleasant and good. Yeah, it's early monsoon for us right here.
Oh, sure. And for me, it's morning time too.
Right. So we have our respected chairperson of our MBA program, Dr. Shiv Shanmugam, who's joined us. Welcome, sir.
Hello, sir.
I see you. Yes. You're a little in the dark, but that's just a matter of a lamp or something. I like the model.
Our students were absolutely excited and looking forward to this event. In fact, every single day we would have so many queries, and we received close to about 2,000 questions for your session.
I'll take 2 of them.
So we are joined by our marketing professor, Professor Brijesh, who just joined us. Welcome, sir.
Welcome. Nice to meet you.
Thanks, sir. It's a real honor and a pleasure to be here in your company, right? And thanks, Satan, for actually accepting our invitation and to be here, sir. Thank you.
Yes, let me mention something before we start about marketing. Recently, a group called the Thinkers 50, and you may know about them, who try to identify the best talent and the best books and so on for people who think well. They decided on a new step And the step was to identify the most classic books for business. In fact, they took a vote and ended up with finding that there are 10 business books that are considered classics and that every business student and business practitioner should study. And they're the books you know, like, for example, In Search of Excellence was one. The Bottom of the Pyramid was another. One of the 10 was mine, Marketing Management.
Wow.
So I'm sharing this with you that finally marketing is recognized in a set of 10 books as one of the main learnings that students have to have if they're going to be good practitioners.
Yeah, that's
Wonderful.
nice
You can
to-
look that up by looking up the idea Thinkers 50, and they'll probably on the internet report this recent announcement.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
look into that. Sir, we have Honorable Vice Chancellor of the University, PS University, Dr. Surya Prasad on this. He has just joined. Sir, Kotler sir has joined. Maybe if everything is set, we will start the session.
Okay.
Glad to be on this call, Professor Kotler. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Read quite a bit about you, and as a guru in marketing, I'm sure it's going to be enlightening for all of us. You know, I look forward to hearing you, sir.
Thank you for your greetings.
Thank you. I think if you're good to go, we'll start then. Bhargav, everything is set?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. Over to you, Professor Brajesh. VC sir, should we start?
Sure, please, please.
All right.
Okay. A very good evening to all of you. I am Professor Brajesh Singh from Faculty of Management Studies, PS University, and I welcome you all. It's great to see so many familiar names and a lot of new names in the audience. Our audience today is pan-India from different streets and multiple professions. We have students, teachers, trainers, corporate executives, marketing practitioners, CEOs, CMOs, functional managers, and they all aspire to know the essence of marketing and corporate governance. It's an honor to be here on the same platform as Dr. Philip Kotler. He is referred to as the father of modern marketing. He has written plethora of books during his distinguished career at Kellogg School of Management at Northwestern University. And among those is a book titled Marketing Management, which I studied when I was a student. I still have that blue-colored Millennium Edition in my own personal library, and it is one of my most prized possessions, sir. Marketing Management is the most widely read textbook on marketing till date, and it's an essential read for all the marketing students. For all of us, those who are interested in knowing more about Dr. Philip Kotler, they should definitely read his autobiography by the name My Adventures in Marketing. But mind you, the autobiography was being written 5 years ago, and a lot of work has been done by Dr. Kotler after that, you know, because he's a man who never tires and he's a man who never stops. Today's event is expected to have wealth of information and golden nuggets in the field of corporate governance and marketing. The father of modern marketing, Dr. Philip Kotler, will share the trends which are shaping these arenas. This maiden event will help answer the queries and clear the cobwebs in our mind related to marketing and corporate governance. For me and for a lot of other marketing professionals out there, this event is going to be the last word on marketing. So without further ado, let me invite Dr. Shaila Sri Haridas, Dean Faculty of Management and Commerce, to introduce PS University to all the esteemed audience present. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Professor Brajesh. Sir, welcome you on the portal of PS. Namaskar, namaste from India. I consider this day as a special day for PS University. We are truly blessed to have your presence today. I don't know, how do I call? You're an author, a consultant, a professor. I mean, actually, you're a god for all of us. You know, those are in the management education, especially in the field of marketing on the side. Your contribution to the field of marketing and actually your contribution to the mankind is immense. And we salute all those. Just for your information, sir, this PS University is 50-year-old university. We are celebrating our Golden Jubilee celebration this particular year. We are situated in the southern part of India in Bangalore, which is having one of the finest weather in India. On the other side, it's a beautiful place. We are in the top 100 in the India, and we are one of the top 10 private universities in India. We have all the streams from engineering to medicine to pharmacy to management, all as such. It's like an educational conglomerate which we have here. I welcome you on behalf of our founder, Shri M.R. Doreswamiji, and our CEO, Shri Jawahar Doreswamy. We also have our Honorable Vice Chancellor. You met him just now. So this entire program is telecasted live on different platforms on YouTube, and we also have it on Microsoft Teams for all our students, and also on Zoom. Around 8,000 to 10,000 people are watching this particular thing. We have all the students of the university. We have 3 campuses. All students of the entire university is watching this particular webinar. Thank you so much for being here, sir. Looking forward to have a nice discussion further on the other side. I request Honorable Vice Chancellor for opening remarks. Sir, over to you, please.
I believe am I ready to start? And if so,
so give us a minute. We have Vice Chancellor on call.
Okay, I can wait.
All right, just a minute, sir. Give us a minute. Yeah, just with the formal proceedings, sir. Yeah. All right, Professor Rohit, over to you.
Thank you.
Greetings.
Ladies and gentlemen, namaskar and welcome to this wonderful evening of celebrating a man of such grit and determination. He is a living example of what it is to be consistent, persistent, and motivated through sun and gloom. Dr. Philip Kotler. Dr. Kotler's presence is a mark of commitment, passion, and indeed a blessing for us today. He is known around the world as the father of modern marketing. For over 50 years, he has taught at the Kellogg School of Management at Northwestern University. Dr. Kotler, for us, it is an honor, and for many, an experience that they await. I'm sure this webinar will certainly trigger new ideas that will benefit all our participants for years to come. Hosting you this evening gives me a new sense of pride and a renewed enthusiasm to my profession. To say we are thrilled to see you would just be an understatement. Once again, a hearty welcome from across the seas and around the globe as many young marketing enthusiasts join us this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving our guest of honor, Dr. Kotler, the most cordial of welcomes. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Rohit, for your introduction and for the other statements made about my background. I want to say that I have been to Bangalore, and I was there several years ago and very impressed with the whole city and the intellectual energy that I found there. Some of the extraordinary new firms and that are creating software and hardware and other things that are helpful to society. So I'm familiar. And as far as your university, PS University, I am impressed very much with what you're doing with what you call education for the real world. That we have to make sure that we are not just academics creating a fictional world which does not mesh with the reality. As a matter of fact, all students have to understand not only the real world, but the new fictional worlds, the metaverse that's coming up too. In other words, other realities are being created too that we may have to understand. In regard to some of the introductory remarks, I remember the statement was made that my book, the original marketing management book written in 1967, was the education of one of our earlier presenters. It reminded me of a time when a CEO of a major company came up to me after my lecture and asked me to sign that very book, the first edition of Marketing Management. And my first question to him was, are you using that book? He says, of course, sometimes a situation arises and I look up that subject. And I said, well, what did you find about brands? He says, well, I don't remember much said about brands. I said, and how about the internet? He says, well, I guess it's not in that book. So he guessed at what I was saying. He said, are you asking me to buy a new edition? I said, yes, you can't use a 1967 edition of marketing in a world full of the internet and cell phones and everything else. And I laughed because he understood immediately that marketing is a changing subject. Like any subject that's going to survive, it's going to adapt and grow and so on. Now, so it was also mentioned in the introduction that, yes, my biography was written 5 years ago in a book called My Adventures in Marketing. And the statement was made that I also have done a lot in the last 5 years. So I took care of that with a new book that I wrote when I had some time called My Life as a Humanist. And in that book, I really summarized pretty much more systematically my views about capitalism, my views about democracy, my views about marketing and business and corporate behavior. But that's aside. What you have in front of you now is a picture of a few recent books, Marketing 5.0, which seems to be very popular around the world. It's not a textbook, it's a briefing that brings practitioners in marketing up to date about what has happened in the last few years. The point being, we cannot rewrite a whole textbook every 2 years, or it maybe every 4 years would make more sense. So we have to put out occasionally, what are the latest things you should understand in marketing? And we do that in 5.0. H2H, which is a funny term, it stands for human to human marketing. We have to always think we're dealing with other people and making their lives better. But that is more of a textbook because it does pretty much the textbook stuff, and it gives 3 new developments in detail in that book. And finally, the last book is to make brands more than just statements of what your company sells. It should be what your company stands for. Brand activism means you're projecting a view of your company as a caring company, an active company that wants to make and help the world get better too. Well, let me move on then.
Sir, sorry for interrupting. If you can go on
Yes.
the slideshow mode, it will be easy for the viewers.
And say that again.
If you can go on the slideshow mode, the slide go on the full screen mode, sir.
Yeah, and now the slide, the screen is as big as I think it can be. Let me just check.
Yeah.
Thank you. Is that what you meant?
Yes,
Yes, because
so
if you don't see the whole slide, it's not helpful.
thank you so
Thank
much.
you. So let me move on and make some points. One is that companies today are re-examining their purpose, goals, and responsibilities. They should always be doing that, but especially in a time where we're going through the 3 C's: COVID, climate change, and I'm going to add conflict. Russia itself causing so much hardship, and also all the headwinds and new wars and so on. So naturally, you have to review your purposes and look at recently with the outbreak of war, look what some companies did to make a stand, to finally to take a stand and not let bad things happen. McDonald's, Starbucks, several others closed their operations. As a matter of fact, it was very brave of McDonald's to do. They closed a major source of their income, because the Russians seem to live in McDonald's, and they're putting it up for sale to one of the oligarchs probably, but they wanted to take a stand. But let's go and look at the challenges. And I'm going to list 10 challenges that companies are facing, and I want to make comments on each of those challenges. Rather than read the list, because I'm going to go through each of the 10 systematically. So don't worry, you can get the list. Let me start with the first. These are interesting challenges. First, should companies be shareholder or stakeholder driven? And the debate continues. Historically, many companies around the world bought into Milton Friedman's philosophy. Milton Friedman was my teacher at the University of Chicago. And he was so impressive that we often, even if we got an A in his class, took him a second time and a third time, because his mind was always moving forward, and we wanted, again, to spend a class with him. But his idea was businesses have nothing to do with society. They exist to make money, and they should not even be giving away money to anyone. That's up to the shareholders. Actually, a company exists for shareholders who put their money at risk. They'll get dividends. Let them decide which causes to help people on. So that took root in a lot of places. And we would say that a company only has to serve two groups. What are the two groups, according to Friedman? He never put it this way. One group is the customers, and the second is the shareholders, okay? But a stakeholder-driven company recognizes other important groups that should be served. And I think Unilever did a marvelous job under Paul Pullman, who recently retired, to identify 7 different groups that should all benefit from the success of the company. Of course, the customers. Of course, the employees. They must be treated very respectfully and not just be seen as replaceable. Suppliers, distributors, communities are a class that has to be served, because your operations are in some major places and the health of the community makes a difference. He even listed the planet as one of the 7. The planet is at risk with being overheated, warming, where temperatures will be unsustainable. You can't live with those temperatures. So take a more expansive view. Now, sometimes that raises this question: can you make money and practice sustainability? And maybe if someone's of the Friedman philosophy, they'll say, no, just watch those 2 groups only, shareholders and the customers, and you'll be very profitable. I would dispute that. I believe there's enough evidence occurring now that stakeholder competitors are outperforming shareholder competitors. Part of the reason is there's more respect by customers who begin to understand the choice to make among competitors and what to look for, and who wants and which competitors are serving their own people best and serving us as customers best. So we can continue that argument, but my prediction is that stakeholder thinking will become mainstream over time. Let's move on to the second question. Should companies add sustainability very specifically to their profitability? And I know all of you know this about the planet warming from greenhouse gases, causing all kinds of climate disturbances, and the need is to get off of fossil fuel, oil and gas, and coal too, and to replace those with renewables, which we're gradually doing And especially India with the sun out so much, you've got to do solar. Solar has to be one of your sources of energy and so on. So companies need to re-examine their energy mix and their packaging. The plastics are found in the bottom of the ocean, and it's the size of Texas. And it's killing fish. And we've got to, as a company, do without the plastics or find the appropriate substitutes. And to control in our factories the amount of light, and not only factories, in our homes, the amount of lighting, heating, and other things. And so more companies are building sustainability into their planning and strategy. However, watch out for what is called greenwashing, where you're pretending to pay attention and not doing it. Those companies that start taking this seriously actually become more profitable. They find out areas of waste. They find out that the public is responding to them because they are doing it genuinely. And so I don't think you can ignore sustainability and remain successful as a company in the long run. I admit the costs may be higher initially to examine all these things you've taken for granted, but in the long run, you'll be in a sounder corporation. Third question, we need top CEOs. Companies should be run by people who have great ability and caring and so on. The truth is, many companies are really run by different types of people, but normally they come from finance. They come from finance because a corporation has very elaborate bookkeeping, numbers, and it takes that kind of training to know your costs and your sources of revenue and to play around with those numbers and so on. So I always advise my marketing major students, please double major, because maybe you are not planning to stay in marketing all the time. Maybe you want to rise and run the company. If you want to run the company, you've got to know finance too. And they take that to heart. Just like finance now is becoming a new subject with new tools called, they call them fintech tools. Marketing too is developing its new tools called MarTech, marketing tech. We'll look at some of them. So I think that it's understandable that finance people are very much running many companies. In some cases, so are IT people, especially in IT companies. In other words, those are the people who started to code a long time ago and build software and and develop digital technology. So some of those people are going to run complicated IT firms. And you want your CEO to understand government very much, because politics the government takes up issues that impact on everyone, regulations of what a corporation can really do, or a corporation's responsibilities and so on. Now, do marketers ever rise to running corporations? Yes, certainly, but not very much. Only a few company leaders came from marketing. At P&G, Procter & Gamble, yes, the leader always comes from marketing, because P&G thinks of itself as not a general company. It is essentially a marketing company through and through. But it doesn't matter, as long as the people who are CEOs have a good understanding of the field of marketing, which takes us to that question that we will look at shortly, that what makes a good CEO? As a matter of fact, I hope I didn't miss something there. In fact, I'm going to add this. There are 4 types of CEOs with respect to their attitude about marketing. One of them is called the 1P CEO. What's a 1P? That P is price. It's the CEO of a company who says, you know, price is everything. All this fancy stuff in marketing, what counts is the right price. If I figure out what the right price is, we'll sell enough and make money. Well, that's quite limited. I would prefer working for a 4P CEO: product, price, place, and promotion. And maybe even add packaging, add a few more P's, add people if you want. We can always debate what is the 4P's enough. But frankly, I would prefer a CEO who thinks of 4 or more P's. Actually, I would want the CEO to care a lot about market segmentation, targeting, and positioning, because no market is homogeneous. Every market is made up of different groups. Which groups should you go after? And which groups should you lead? You have to be dominant in serving certain groups within the market that you're in. So I want a CEO who thinks of segmentation, targeting, and positioning. And I really would like to work for a CEO who believes marketing is what the company essentially is about: creating value. That's what marketing means: the ability to create, communicate, and deliver value to a target market at a profit. So let's move on. Should companies seek diversity and gender equality? Yes, of course. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Diversity means not everyone in your company thinks alike. That would be stultifying, because the world is made up of many types of people. And if you're selling Coca-Cola and you're going to only think of one group you want to satisfy, that's ridiculous. You got to understand all kinds. Let's say you're McDonald's. You need a plan for how to attract teenagers to come to McDonald's. You need another plan to attract mothers, single married mothers, unmarried mothers with children to McDonald's. You need another plan. How do you get senior citizens to come to McDonald's? I mean, you have to think of the diversity of your markets. And also, men and women must be treated equally. And so in our book 5.0, we talk about the generations of people. You know, baby boomers is the name we give to the people who were born a long time ago, and they're running our businesses basically, and so on, all the way down to generation Y and Z. The future is in Y and Z, the millennials and the centennials. And the millennials started with a new attitude toward work. And the attitude was, first, work must be a balance with our family and our friends. Work, family, and friends are balanced. It's not you're doing only work with your life. Secondly, the millennials said they're interested in a better society. They care about causes. Does their company care about causes? They hope they do. And the centennials are even more extreme than those views. Same views. And there's some differences, but now remember, every generation grows up with different world events, different music, different social movements. And we've got to start asking, are we going to segment by the generation and their needs and experiences or not? So we'll move on now. Here was my slide about the types of CEOs. You know, the one price is only 4P. Let's move on, because I've already talked about that. In fact, sometimes they ask for a definition of marketing. A very simple and plain definition is to make and sell products and services that are attractive and appropriate to different consumers who have different preferences and income. Good. It's all about satisfying different customer groups. A shorthand definition, which I summarize by calling it CCDVTP, if you can remember that: to create, communicate, and deliver value that satisfies a target market, called a TP, at a profit. A T satisfies. A higher level is to innovate new and better products and services and create new markets. You see, you could be selling all that you make, and that's not enough because things change and you may not be moving to making the things that should also be made by you. In fact, Peter Drucker is one of our big inspirations, who said that marketing really is more about creating new value and new markets than just selling well whatever you make. So then don't forget the innovation side of marketing. And then maybe the most basic idea is as a person in the company, your job is to enhance the well-being of others in the company and outside of your company. You want to see people living a better lives, and ask yourself, is your business making life better for people, or is it making life worse for people? In which case you wonder if you should be in that business. So and a way to think about that is when I am invited to a company to help them, I end up wondering if they're a marketing 1.0, 2.0, or 3.0 company. What do I mean? If they are basically in their mind very product-centered, creating economic value and profit-driven, okay, that makes a good company. It probably could be successful. I think it would be even better if they came more from their heart as well as their mind, very customer-oriented, placing a lot of value on people, and interested in social progress. So a type 2 company, I think, is a more elevated view. Type 3, spirit, values-driven. Environmental values are important. Human happiness is important. I think that companies need a new consciousness. They have to move to 2.0, maybe, and hopefully to 3.0. But let's move on. Well, I'm going to move on if I can. Okay. The best CEOs understand marketing. Now, I don't want to make this a marketing course. All of you know a great deal about marketing, but I'll just briefly say, we're buyer needs centered. We only think that we will want to know who's aware of our company. Are they accessible? How are they accessible? Would they accept what we make? And can they afford what we sell? That is Jagdish Sheth's wonderful categorization of the conditions that would describe good prospects. Good prospects for our company would have the 4 A's. And Jagdish Sheth is one of our most gifted marketers at Emory University in the US. And then marketers will then formulate, based on the 4 A's, they'll formulate the 4 P's for which is their marketing plan. And then they want to always stress the company's needs, the customer's needs, the collaborators' needs who work with the company, and how the competitors think, the 4 C's. And then a lot of work is done in segmentation, targeting, and positioning. And then the process is one of starting with MR, which is marketing research, to learn what that market's like, doing STP, then finding out the market, choose your market, the TM, the target market, and then formulate your value proposition in a short sentence. What are you delivering that the customer wants to have from you? What is your value proposition? Based on that, you build your MP, your marketing plan. You implement it, and then you control to make sure you're achieving your goals. I can say a lot about this process, and most of you are studying this process, but the valuable thing is when you're not achieving your goals, you use that same linear list and backwards. Why didn't we achieve our goals? Was it poor implementation? No, it was good implementation. Maybe the marketing plan was bad. No, it was okay. Maybe you had the wrong value proposition. No, I thought that was pretty good. Maybe you chose the wrong target market. Maybe you didn't do enough STP. Maybe you had bad marketing research. The whole thing opens up to you when you don't get your goals achieved. Now, the marketing tools, of which there are many, besides the 4 Ps, I mean, when you get more specific, they work at different stages, because your job is to get a prospect to move from only being, to first to be aware, then to find your company appealing, then to ask questions, and you should have answers for those questions, at which point the prospect may buy it the first time, sample your product. And if they like it, they might become, over time, a continuous buyer, a loyal buyer, maybe an advocate of your product. And the tools work very interestingly, because advertising, and we can say more about it, really works on the creating aware, appeal, and answering questions. Content work, which is beyond advertising, the delivery of a lot of content and ideas to your customers. Then direct marketing works more further down. And then there is sales work. Mostly sales work takes place after people have been already prepared to be interested in your company. And then you got to have the distribution channels that are set up for them to easily have access to your product without effort. So the tools are organized according to the stages that particular groups of your customers might be in. So there are books available on these subjects. Advertising, I can make a lot of comments about where that's going, especially the 30-minute commercial, and whether we can really measure the impact of our 30-second commercials. We'll say more about it. But Salesforce, very interesting questions there. Do the salespeople like the marketers? Do you know, ironically, that marketing was initially created as a service group to help the salesman by helping develop some advertising that would help the salesman identify customers, brochures, doing marketing research, anything, a lot of activities to give salespeople more tools to do their work. So marketing came after the wish to use advertising and salespeople. Okay, but now marketing has done more of the major planning around all the products and about even the research innovation projects that are going on. Retailing is an interesting issue because COVID almost killed retailing. And a lot of shops had to close down. No one wanted to be in groups and exposed to COVID. So more and more retailing became online retailing. And for the first time, many people really had to learn the computer. And that means that they can order a product to be delivered and even return it if it's not what it was claimed. So now that we thought COVID is on its way out, but we're surprised and it's again popping up. And retailers are going to have to continue to try. A good retailer will try to do two things: run a good online service as well as an in-store service. But there are certain stores we still need. You need furniture shops because we want to sit in the furniture before we buy it, and it's expensive. IKEA, for example. We need automobile dealers because we have to try out the car to see if we like it. And we need a place to go to buy our common goods for eating, our food. We need our supermarkets. But the question is, can the retailer win over customers by realizing that they're delivering an experience? If it's a bad experience and the store is crowded, and the clerks are not interested in you and can't answer your questions, you're not going to get them coming back. So what does it take to deliver a great retail experience to people coming in so they want to come in again? And we have books dealing with experiential marketing and its role in retailing. All right, I mentioned MarTech and that there are many new tools being developed. This is a list of them. I hope you're familiar with 3D printing, because not only is that a way to make a nice little vase, ceramic piece if you want, by designing on your computer something and then having it print out that piece with a little machine, a little plastic or whatever. But now they're going to do housing with 3D. They're going to print out walls and other aspects of construction. AI is, we can never say enough about how important this is, but I like particularly the form known as algorithms. Namely, even at your university, the question arises, you have so many applicants to go to PES University, which ones do you accept? One way to do it is just have a very experienced person who knows, has a judgment. When you look at the record of the applicant, you know whether they will be successful at PES or not. A better way would be to use that person and formulate that person's standards for accepting someone to PES and enrich it with the experience of who you accepted before at your university, and were they successful, and how can you enhance your algorithm based on two things: that great judgment of the person who was accepting or not accepting people, enriched by the experience of how it worked well and where it didn't work well, and then we call it an algorithm. And so actually, it's if you have a good algorithm, that's making the decision as to who gets into your college. Or if you're a bank, it's the algorithm that decides whether you loan money to a borrower or not. Big data means we want to know more about individual customers, what they read, where they shop at, and how strong when they stand at a shelf, what are they looking at, and so on. And we take the data and we put our machines to learn and gain insights into behavior, customer behavior. And all the new media, the digital media, the social media. Should we use Facebook? Should we use Instagram? There are negatives about some of these social media, but they are also our advertising media, and they are very important for your marketing. I sort of see the use of the 30-second commercial, the big bang, expensive commercial, as sort of trying to imprint a brand on the mind of a person. But it doesn't really sell a lot. It imprints the brand. What sells a lot is your micro management of the data about your customers and sending the right content and messages to your customers at the right time with the right price so they are ready to buy. So it's a combination of the traditional marketing and the new digital marketing that must be managed. Face recognition is growing. Voice recognition we're all with now. We listen to Siri or Alexa, answering all kinds of wonderful questions we may have. Yeah, I think many of these you know about. Chatbots, augmented reality. We should never make a new car. We design a new car on virtual reality or augmented reality. You actually have a prospect who might buy a car, put on glasses, and go through an experience where they're actually entering the car. They're sitting down in the seat. They're turning on the engine. They hear the noise sound. They drive away. And then you ask, how was that experience? And they say, loved it. I want to buy the car. And they say, we don't have the car. It doesn't exist. But now that if so many of you liked it that much, we're going to build a factory and make the car. So the whole idea of virtual reality is not to make products before you found enough evidence that they're exciting to people. And you should also do a lot of customer journey mapping. You've got to know what brought that customer into your dealership at that time. What were the stopping points along the way? What ads helped? What friends talked to him about your company? You got to map the normal ways, the different ways people end up buying something from you, their journey and the points. I won't go into more of these things, but we could always have questions about the new MarTech. There's a wonderful book written, I'm sorry I didn't illustrate it, it's by the head of MasterCard. Most of you know that one of the major firms with credit cards is MasterCard, and the head of it is a person from India originally, Rajaman. His book is called Quantum Marketing. And he's not just talking about how MasterCard markets. He has a beautiful chapter on all of these new tools that MasterCard is using to reach their customers. What is the relationship between product development and marketing? A very intimate one. Marketers should be in on every new product that is being under development at a company, because in the old days, this wasn't the case. A group called product development people would make something new without asking anything of marketing until it was ready. And then they would say to the marketers, all right, we made this, now sell it. And the marketers are puzzled. The price is wrong. It won't sell at that price. The features are missing, or there's too many features. I mean, so smart companies put a marketing thinker in on any new project that's being developed. Because we normally say the people who innovate are masters of the possible. Yes, it's a good mentality that can imagine new products. By the way, the Philips company is very good at that, except they imagine things that are not valuable. They imagine possible products that never sell. So you have to team innovators and marketers. And the reason for this illustration is that I worked with the head of the company. Look at how I'm blanking. When we were, Kodak died. Kodak died because of this cell. But Fujifilm did not die. Fujifilm is bigger than it ever was. So why does one company die and the other not? We wrote the book, and my co-author is the CEO, the brilliant CEO, who told his people when he saw the fact that cameras were going to kill film, the cell phone would kill the film industry. He said, stay with me. We have so many hidden treasures. We have so many patents. We're the people who can make color film with 14 different operations. We can go into medical care with our knowledge. We can go into skin care with our knowledge. And sure enough, today, Fujifilm is a leader in some medical products, skincare products, and so on. So the work, and Drucker always said, put together innovators and marketers. In fact, he said it this way: the only two functions that matter in a real successful company are innovation and marketing. All the rest are costs. Well, he got anger from all the other people in production and in finance. They're only costs. He said, but if you have good innovation and good marketing, you're going to be a winner. Number 9, should company brands take a stand on public issues? I believe they should. usually a high consensus stand, somewhere showing that they agree with what the public is largely agreeing with. The environment, they should show that they care about the environment and they're doing things. They should start saying, you know what, we're not a linear company, we are a circular company. What do they mean? We see us as not just making and selling something, leaving the product to be disposed of by the owner, wherever they can go and make junk out of it, put it in a mountain and bury it. The right company would be a circular thinker. The right company says, we're responsible for the making, the selling, and the disposing. And when products are ready to be disposed, maybe many of them don't have to be disposed. Maybe they can be reused. Maybe they could be, the materials could be taken out of those, the copper or whatever is there, and used for the new products. So they believe in stretching our resources and recycling, and show it through your brand activism and so on. Now, a lot of companies are practicing corporate social responsibility. And this is from one of my earlier studies where these companies, I mean, why did Avon raise so much money for the breast cancer problem that women might have? Millions and millions have been raised by Avon. Well, partly because of the cost. Of course, we want to cure this problem. Also, all of their customers are women. The Avon lady knocks on the door and offers some things that the housewife might want. And so that's their natural market. And you should be concerned with the problems that your natural market might have. And then you can look at these other companies, and I can probably explain why each of those, even the Kraft company knows that a lot of their products may be bad from gaining weight and obesity. And they're trying to reformulate products so that less fat, less sugar, less salt. That's the mantra is, don't make products with a lot of salt, sugar, and fat in them. But companies will clearly be known when they do the right job for caring about something beyond pure profit making. 10. We only have 10, so we're almost at the end. How can a company be creative and innovative? I wrote 2 books on the subject. Lateral marketing was about how you get new ideas. By not thinking vertically, let's make another box of cereal, another box. No, let's use cereal in a new way in a candy bar so that you're eating a healthy candy bar. You think horizontally, not laterally. And then the other book, Winning at Innovation, was the steps that make a product successful that you start up and run. But hire employees who have new ideas and can think out of the box. Celebrate them and their creative ideas. Invite customers to offer ideas. You know, Starbucks has a system where they say, how can we be better for you in our Starbucks? Are you satisfied with the pastry that we offer with the coffee? Or should we offer full sandwiches or meat or what? Always interested in those things and so on. So let me make a few predictions about the future of marketing. Buyers will select the best brands without resorting to advertising or salespeople. You know, marketing is all about advertising and salespeople and pricing and other things, but maybe in a sense, marketing success will depend mostly on 1, smart pricing, 2, strong branding, and owning dominant channel positions. In other words, do you own that shelf? Is yours the soup that people see mostly on the shelf? Marketing creativity will be crucial in the area of entrepreneurial marketing. Of course, that's maybe a repetition of the same idea. Marketers will make use of customer journey mapping, touch point marketing, persona marketing, and gauge marketing. Marketers will be using these things. You got to pay a lot of attention to influencers now. Many people, because of the internet and social media, they have a lot of followers. Do you know that, what's her name? Well, any of the great singers have huge followers, and the followers, they watch what she wears. What purse does she carry? What does she drink when being interviewed? Any one of those could be, you're happy to have a major influencer being seen with your brand. Should you pay them? Probably you shouldn't, because that's kind of maybe not right, but it's happening too. We are paying some influencers for showing our products using our products. Marketers will use virtual reality to gauge buyer interest in future products, and so on and so forth. I'm going to end with this that came out of our HAH book. There's 3 kinds of bad marketing. One is unethical marketing. Please avoid it. You're going to be caught if you do it. Secondly, wasteful marketing. There's a lot of silly things going on, or maybe wasteful things going on. Third would be inane marketing, not relevant to any, not helping you in any way. It's just inane to have maybe a duck marketing your product or some strange creature. Do people-to-people marketing best. And then I leave you with this. If you're a firm, if you're in a company, running it or working in it, within 5 years, if you're in the same business you are in now, you're going to be out of business because you can't run it the same way. So therefore, join profitability with sustainability, and then you have a great chance to be successful. All right, thank you very much for listening to some of my ideas on running a company well and getting the kind of training from PES University that you deserve. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. If you allow us, we have a few questions to be taken from the students. Maybe a couple of questions, if you allow that to us.
Yes,
sir.
I'm happy to answer a few questions.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Thank you so much, sir, for such insightful inputs. We are very privileged and honored to have availed the impartment of knowledge from the man himself. I, Sanjana, came across the book on corporate social responsibility co-authored by you, and I have a query regarding the same. So is CSR centered around whitewashing the corporate companies rather than the core focus relying on serving the righteous society causes?
I heard some of your questions, but I want to be sure I'm answering the right question. Could you just, in a simple sentence, say what is your question?
So currently, CSR, the definition of CSR, is it focusing more on whitewashing the corporate companies rather than the core focus relying on serving the society?
Would someone else state that for me again, because the voice is a little high and therefore
Professor Rohit, if you can repeat the question, please.
Sure. So Dr. Kotler, she's asking that in today's time, when we talk about CSR, CSR is typically. So I think you're fading away. We are unable to hear you. Yeah, now you're back, sir. Now you're back. We can hear you now. So
okay. No,
yeah.
but the point yeah, but the point is, she's raising a question about corporate social responsibility.
Yeah.
And I'm very much an advocate of every company taking a cause, if possible, certainly a cause that they impact on. Just like in the Avon case, they're selling to women, and there's a concern women have. Sometimes a company will take a cause that their workers, their employees care about a lot. Hunger, it could be homelessness. Not that their own workers are homeless, but enough of them are concerned about wanting more adequate housing, and pressure companies should be putting on government to make more housing available to the homeless. So I think a company should not be without a cause. It's part of character and values. What do they believe in? What do they care about? The worst thing is, they only care about making money. And that's the old Milton Friedman idea. But I think that's out of fashion now. And I'm glad this person asking the question wants to know more about corporate social responsibility. We'll take another question.
Sure. Thank you so much, sir. Can we have the next question, please?
Go ahead. Abhilash, you are on mute. Go ahead.
Thank you so much for the insight, sir. So myself, Abhilash. So I have a question. Most of the startups are born as a result. The founders' idea or innovation, who are young like us, decide to grow their companies to greater heights. So with a lot of struggle and challenges faced by the young entrepreneurs to give shape to their dreams, corporate governance often takes backseat or even ignored. What's your advice to the young entrepreneurs on this, sir?
Yeah, okay. About corporate governance and the role of the founders and then the successors. There's a new formula coming out now for good corporate governance. It's called ESG. E is for economy, S is for social, and G is for governance. And that it's becoming actually formulated as a guideline to spot a company that really is caring. A caring company is practicing ESG, and there are measurements of that. But the founder of a company is to be admired, especially if it's a successful company, for introducing something of value. And that's always the judgment, something coming out from your company of value to some people. Now, there's always a question about that. For example, the company that makes cigarettes, yes, they are producing value to people who like to smoke. They're also hurting people who like to smoke. Should they bear any responsibility? Should they be charged for the harm they've done to the lives, the shortened lives of people who smoke? Should we tax them higher? There's a lot. See, marketing at some points raises the question, is everything marketable? Should everything be marketable in a society as long as there's a need for it? For example, there's a lot of people they need to gamble. They want to gamble. So should you build a casino? Should we build casinos because that's to encourage more gambling? So marketers in general believe anything is okay to make that people put a value on. But there's another type of marketing now, social marketing. So let me make a contrast between commercial marketing and social marketing. Commercial marketing is about making whatever will sell. Social marketing may be to challenge and try to change what might sell that is bad really to sell. So we started in nearly 1960, the field called social marketing. It has to do with helping people avoid injuries, make better choices, have more things, better offers being made to them. And our textbook is now in the 6th edition. Social marketing. Social marketing isn't just there to correct bad marketing or challenge bad marketing. It's there to actually make lives better. And we're coming out, my co-author Nancy Lee and I, with a wonderful book in a few months called 100 Success Stories of Social Marketing. These are 100 cases that show that we can make our products and our prices and our marketing better with the right moves that create more real value to the users of our products and services. So watch out for the growth of social marketing as the same thing as commercial marketing, same tools, but sometimes they're used differently. For example, there's a thing we call demarketing. Right now, we're using too much water. So therefore, we have to encourage people to conserve water. That's the job of social marketing, because the people didn't ask to conserve water. This is not a product they're buying. So we're demarketing, which is the use of marketing to change behavior toward a set of products and services. Okay, I guess I wandered from that question into another issue. Yeah, I'll take one more question if there's one more.
Sure.
Okay.
Can we have the next question, please?
Hello, sir. Akshara this side. So I wanted to know that it's always been said that extrovertness is one of the essential qualities required to succeed in marketing profession. So with the changing marketing scenario around and in today's dynamic world, do you still feel that a marketing professional should be an extrovert?
Do we believe that a marketing professional should be a what?
An extrovert?
Extrovert.
Oh, good. Interesting question. Yes, normally that sounds right, that someone who likes people and an extrovert is they are looking forward to being with people and enjoying people and so on. And certainly, if you raise the question not about marketing but sales work, and by the way, I believe that a lot of people who want to be in marketing should have a chance to go through sales too, because that opens their mind as to how to help other people buy something. But extroversion would be a good trait for salespeople, I believe, very much. For marketers, marketing is a home with many rooms. There's rooms for marketing research. And there, whether you're an extrovert or an introvert, may not be important to learning how people make choices. And in developing brand new products, I guess whether you're an extrovert or introvert, it may not make much of a difference. So here's the thing. I can imagine someone who's an introvert being asked to be a salesperson, and possibly someone saying, you're probably choosing the wrong thing because you're going to sit home a lot and do a lot of thinking, and maybe you should think of something else. But it's an interesting question. I would be more open-minded to all people have a place in marketing as they have a place in finance, whether they're an introvert or an extrovert. Interesting question, however.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so
I
much,
know
sir.
there was
Yeah.
an estimate there were 2,000 questions that could come, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, we don't have the time.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Give us 2 more minutes. I know I'll be happy in case you can give us 2 more minutes. I request Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, for the remarks. Sir, over to you, please.
Thank you. Thank you, madam. Thank you, Professor Philip Kotler. I think a lot of us were not even born when your first book came out. So I think
Yes.
we have lived through the ages now, right? Listening from you and those 10 commandments, I'm sure is going to be something that all students, irrespective of marketing, finance, or HR, are going to understand the relevance. And you made a very good point that, they cannot just look at a single specialization, better to get into more than one. And I think today that's going to be the mantra. Adaptability is one component. They can't say I'm into only marketing and that's all what I'm going to be doing throughout my life, because as you indicated, shelf lives are reducing for our careers. We need to reinvent ourselves. I think the past 60 plus minutes has been wonderful time. It kind of takes us back into our classrooms, and listening from a stalwart like you does make tremendous amount of impact with respect to the subject. And I'm sure those 10 commandments put in so simple, starting from whether it's stakeholder or shareholder, I think it's going to make a lot of difference, give a lot of thought processes running amongst the youngsters, and some interesting questions too. So young entrepreneurs, you kind of put that very, very simple. For anybody to succeed, innovation and marketing is going to be key. That is something that's going to be critical. I think we need to understand that as long as we continue to reinvent ourselves, ensure innovation is there in every grain of our thought process, it's going to make a huge difference. Thank you very much, sir, for sharing those wonderful thoughts. And I'm sure we are all totally blessed today. As I told you, a lot of us were not even born when your first book came out, and we have lived through the ages. Thank you for that wonderful time spending with family at PES. We are indebted for your thoughts and the participation today. Thanks to the management program for arranging such a wonderful program. And I really love your enthusiasm. And your voice is so strong. You've been in this area for so long, and I'm sure there's a lot more that we can take rather than just the marketing part of it. Again, thank you wholeheartedly from PES University. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm going to make a concluding remark. Namely, I loved your phrase, the 10 commandments, the commandments of marketing, because I think I'm going to write a book about that.
That's great.
Yeah, because, I did write a book called The 10 Deadly Marketing Sins. And now what we need is the 10 commandments of marketing. Well, anyways, we'll keep thinking about these things. Thanks for your wonderful remarks about the talk. Thank you.
Sure.
I wish everyone the most, and you too, so much, Rohit, for running this program. Thank you.
Anytime. Dr. Kotler, if you can just give us a couple of minutes, the students have a small surprise for you. And yeah, so I invite Abhilash to take it forward from here, please.
Okay.
It's a matter of immense pleasure and a bit of nervousness. Many a times I would be nervous seeking the name Philip Kotler on my textbook. And once I ventured into it, I fell in love with marketing. Today, the nervousness still remains as I address you, sir. But more importantly, I offer my sincere respects to your contribution in our life as a marketing student. Professor, I'm glad to share with you that PES University is indebted to your service to the fields of marketing. What I did notice along the way is that marketing needs a deeper understanding of human psychology. Your exemplary insights into the mind and hearts of human has given way to understanding marketing so much better. Thank you for your valuable time to speak to us here at PES University. Today, it's just not a special day for us, Professor, but also because it is so close to you, because it's 91st birthday of yours. I take the delight of wishing you a very special happy birthday, Professor, on behalf of whole PES University. Here is a small surprise for you, Professor.
Oh, thank you very much for that lovely thing. I will make a copy of it and send it to me. That's wonderful. I am so delighted with this. I've talked to a number.
Once again, happy birthday, Professor.
Let me congratulate you for two reasons. One is that's the most beautiful thing you could put together. I've spoken to a lot of universities, your competitors, and you're the first to think of that. That was wonderful. Secondly, what can you do to get me more hair? You have so much of it. just a joke.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Kotler, on that note, I'd just like to share with you that the webinar conducted today was the initiative of the Leadership School at PES. And your webinar is the maiden event for the School of Leadership. It would be wonderful to have you share a few words of encouragement and motivation for the success of the School of Leadership.
Well, I guess I already said some things that will make people better leaders. A leader is not someone who gets an ego punch or joy from being admired and leading. That's not it at all. Some of the best leaders are humble people. They have a cause. They want people to live better lives, and they don't have to. Ego doesn't figure in what they're doing. They're actually followers of people, not leaders. They produce what people need and want, and not being told what to do. Gandhi is one of my great heroes, and his whole life was about giving and making the world better. And in our country, Martin Luther King, same. And we need people like that. So leaders should be more humane. My own idea of life is to be a humanist. The human being is key and precious. And so I think you all acknowledge that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. We are truly indebted, and it's a blessing for all of us. I request you to give us, maybe one sentence or two sentence blessing for PES University, sir. Thank you so much. What do you?
Thank you. I say goodbye and wish all of you great success in whatever you undertake. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor. Many happy returns of the day again.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you all. Thank you.